Well, I got it all done. I even hit way down in there. It was hard. It was very tricky to get down in there because my caulk gun wouldn't fit all the way. So I put it in there and then put some on my finger, wiped it, put some more on my finger, wiped it. And I even did around the mud sill a little bit. This piece here, they shot it in with a stud gun and it was loose. So I put some caulking, I put some liquid nails behind there and put a rock in there and wedged it up against there. Once that dries, that's not coming off for anything. That was just all loose flopping around in the air. I even did across this piece of mud sill that was shot in over there too. And I just did everything. And I even did the screw holes because they were all rusty, and those were holding up the stair risers. And yeah, that was tricky, right up in there. And even where they cut the notches, I went ahead and did it. You know, usually they do it with a skill saw, and they don't cut it out with a hand saw or a jigsaw or anything like that. They just cut it long on one side until it just barely goes through on the other side, see? And so I just filled those up all the way along there just to kind of make it a little bit stronger. Some of these have a little hairline crack in them along there. That one was okay. But see, there's one right there. And this liquid nails, be surprised how well it does when it dries, just like concrete. So some of these, see, this piece was kind of bad, but I want to save this. I was thinking about cutting this one back to here, but I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna go from here down, and I'll put a different block in there. We'll make that a lot better, but for the time being, this is gonna hold it really good. I even went up along the sides there. Eventually I'm gonna put 2x6s up underneath the other edge of the stair tread itself, just because I can, because I'm here and I'm doing everything else. I might as well do a 100% job, because I want to make sure that this piece here, if it's not strong enough, I'll have a 2x6 over here and that'll help hold that up. I think I could get it without those 2x6s up, but my word, we're only talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7 extra little 2x6s up there, and especially over here, that's gonna help this, because remember, I'm gonna put a scab, a 2x6 across here and coming up, and I'll show you that later. You know, for right now, one step at a time, right? We don't look at the whole project. We look at one thing at a time. And in hindsight, I probably could have treated all this first, and then after that got dry, then go ahead and use the liquid nails. But I mean, you know, even if there was barely a little bit of a mold spore area, like right in here underneath the liquid nails, I don't think anything's going to happen with that at all now. Plus, I've already sprayed it with Clorox. Now I'm going to apply something else over the top of this, and I'm going to get ready to do that. And that's my next project, getting back under here. But before I apply this, I'm going to let this dry. It's already skinning over. Once it skins over, I think you could paint it, but I'm going to, or seal it or treat it or whatever, but I'm going to let it dry some more, and that way I can work on this area over here and work my way back this way, and then I'll do this last, and by that time this thing will be plenty dry for me to go over and treat it. Okay, liquid nails, I use 7 tubes of it. But you know, it's not very expensive. I forget how much it is. I think it's less than $2 tube. or maybe $2.25. It used to be a lot cheaper than that, but nowadays, you know, hey, prices go up, things go up. But in any case, see, I've got a lot of liquid nails left, but I still have many places I'm going to end up putting the liquid nails. If you keep watching all this whole video series, you'll see what I'm talking about. And once I get this done, you're gonna be amazed. All right, enough of that. This dries. We'll be on to the next step. We're gonna treat this wood one more time. And if you saw how I treated it initially, I treated it with bleach, like Clorox bleach, and I put it in this container here, this Hudson sprayer, and I just used bleach. I used like 2 gallons of it so far, and I don't know, I don't think I'm going to need to use any more. I'll put it a little bit in a spray bottle, and then I'll hit different little spots up in here after I cut this out. I've got a little work up in here, yeah, up in there to do, and I'll be treating it in some other areas, so I can I can put that in a little plastic water bottle and spray it. I mist it on there. Okay, so yes, I treated all of this wood and everything with the Clorox. It's actually bleach, and it wasn't actually Clorox. It was HDX bleach, and it's the very same, comparable to Clorox. But that's not good enough. I don't want to take any chances. I could just leave it like this right now and be done with it. But I'm going to go one extra step, and I'll show you that next time. And I just take my 10 snips and I cut the tip, and usually I'll cut it at an angle. And there's actually little marks on here, but I don't really bother with that. I just kind of cut it, make it about yay big. And on the inside, you can't see it, but there's a foil seal there. So on my caulk gun, I get the caulk gun that has the push button here, not just the teeth. And more times than not, this is the only kind you can get now at the store. The thing I like about this one is it's got this little goodie here. Okay, and then that just pushes in like that. This even has a cutter. It even has a little cutter right here. And that's what that's for. You could put your tip in there and then cut it off. I don't usually do that. It doesn't really do that good of a job. Okay, so I got that. And before I had that, you know, it's hard to get anything down in there because the nail is almost too short. I mean, you'd have to get a 16 penny nail to push down in there. Okay, now I'm ready to go. That's how you do that. Okay, and once I put it on there, I'm actually going to wipe it off with my finger. And you just have to kind of be careful when you do that. Well, that's the best way to get a good seal. Okay, I'm going to get over there and start working. I'm getting ready to treat all this area now. I've already sprayed. If you watch my other videos, I've already sprayed these areas all the way, even including the stucco up in here, the edges, all of this, all, you know, saturated the whole thing. I even went all the way up in there, sprayed it, and I used my Hudson sprayer right there. Worked out really good. It got all kinds of stuff off of there. It stunk too, let me tell you. Look at these 2x6s. They look almost brand new, but yet they're 15 to 17 years old. And now I'm going to treat it again, but before I do that, there's one thing I want to do, and I could do it now or I could do it later, but I want to paint over what I'm going to do. And so on all these steps, do you remember, you watched my previous videos on this whole job, on all the demo and everything, you would have seen that there was adhesive, construction adhesive on each one of these, but it wasn't holding anymore, so I scraped it all off, and now I want to install some new adhesive because I don't want anything to move around and to squeak. And also, if I cover things up, look how big that gap is, my word. If I cover things up, it will help seal this from the weather from outside. I'm also gonna seal on the other side, but I'm gonna use something different on that. But on the inside, I'm gonna use my construction adhesive, and I'm gonna go on all these lines. This line, and where the stair stringers are, I'm going to do that little bit here, a little bit right in there. Get this line here. See over here, I want to caulk this line, this line, this line, that line, all of the stuff, okay? And that's just something I want to do because I don't want things to squeak and to move around. And see, I do it now, then I can start letting that dry before I apply my next coat of protection here. And here's my construction adhesive I use. It's called Liquid Nails, and this is the standard project one. They have 2 or 3 different ones, but I always stick with this one. I ended up getting a whole case because I'm also gonna, when I install my new 2x6s and my siding, my OSB plywood and stuff on the back side, I'm gonna install this Liquid Nails. I call it Liquid Nails. That's what it's just called, and it's construction adhesive. Okay. And I'm going to use all kinds of it up in there. You know, you'll just have to keep watching what I do. And on this, there's an actual seal on the inside. So once you cut this, you have to break that seal. And I'll show you that in a minute. Well, that's all I got for this time. But I'll be back with more videos.